So this date in 2023 that's coming really, really soon here is the convergence date of multiple huge countries' central bank digital currency pilots being launched. To me, that spells a shift or a catalyst or an event or an announcement that is about to take place within the next 30 to 45 days here. That date is April 1st, 2023. I will show you a handful of countries all in the past week that have announced they're going to pilot their CBDC on April 2023. So let's dive into it. But before we go into it, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, leave a like, show some love, because I'm going to be dropping a whole lot of videos this weekend, catching up. There's so much news that I could sit here and make content all day. So the more likes I get, the more comments I get, the more videos I'm going to put out. So I appreciate you guys' support. And if you're not already in the Discord, come join the Discord. We have a free section in the Discord, but due to the influx of demand of so many people this past week joining the White Glove VIP service and our current members, we are closing off the gate to any new VIP signups as of Monday. So in 2 days now, we're closing it off. We need to make sure we're getting our white gloves dust off and cleaned up for our current members as well as our newly signed up VIP members. So if you've been on the fence, now's your time, man. I'm telling you, now's your time. The clock is ticking and we're closing the gate on Monday until further notice. And I hope you guys understand why. So let's dive into it because CBDCs are gaining steam, though results may vary. Nigeria's e-naira has been called a dark experiment with deadly consequences. Countries are looking to build their own CBDC, though results may vary. Robert Campos, NATO president of Brazil Central Bank, said on Friday that the pilot for his country's digital currency will start right now. The project is likely to be ready for its rollout by December of this year. And this was a recent article yesterday. The project banks have been widely cooperative with the project, according to Campos, who had said the CBDC implementation will allow each bank to individually issue the state-sanctioned digital asset. Alongside the developments of digital currencies, Brazil's banking head referred to two other prominent projects said to shape the future of finance. Pix, a fiat payments initiative, and Open Finance, a project found on the principle that customers should own their own financial data. I think these three things can change the history of financial intermediation in Brazil, transforming our system into something efficient. And today in the world, there is no one so advanced. There we go. In Japan, which has been notoriously strict on cryptocurrencies, the country's central bank is planning to pilot its digital yen in April. Proof of concepts will be executed in March to test feasibility and basic functionality, the Bank of Japan said. Private businesses and banks, including three of Japan's largest banks, will participate in the trial. Transactions are set to be simulated, meaning no actual retail and consumer transactions are designed to be made during the pilot. Whether to issue a CBDC should be decided by discussions among the Japanese public, the bank said. With a view to facilitating such discussions, the bank will continue to make thorough preparations to respond to changes in circumstances in an appropriate manner. Other CBDC programs have fared quite differently. Nigeria's CBDC program has been called a dark experiment with deadly consequences. They launched in October 2021, meeting a chilly reception from Nigerians. It hasn't been the only hurdle CBDCs around the world have gone up against. After the country's citizens balked at adopting the e-naira and continued to use cash, its central bank began to replace high-denomination cash bills in the economy. The sentiment led to businesses shuttering and angry protests. Unless stopped in its tracks, the monetary experiment is coming to all of us one way or another. About 114 countries have explored CBDCs, 11 countries have fully implemented them, and 17 have CBDCs in the works. There we go. Then we have China is quietly trying to dethrone the dollar. Regional groups and small banks are helping insulate Beijing against sanctions. So at the recent summit, so this is 2022, talks about SCO, the SCO summit, and Iran and Russia's recent proposal for a single SCO currency. So we can't forget about all this that was being said and how basically they took shots fired at the US and the US dollar with announcing this. So we all remember this. So China, so how they're going to do their own settlements in their local currencies. So Bank of International Settlements launched a renminbi liquidity arrangement with the participation of Bank of Indonesia, the Central Bank of Malaysia, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and the Central Bank of Chile. This arrangement aims to provide liquidity support and can be used by participating central banks in time of market volatility. As we go down here, we can just see the end. So this logic applies to other members vulnerable to Western sanctions or seeking to reduce dependence on the dollar, such as Iran and India. The US government cannot stop the SCO members from attempting to collectively pursue alternative currencies for trade and investment within the bloc. However, it certainly can improve the attractiveness of the dollar-based system by resisting the temptation of excessive use of sanctions, reinforcing US financial market connections with Chinese markets, rather than aggressively threatening decoupling, and boosting the role of the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, an agency for international development and providing development finance and aid to fund projects conducive for socio-economic growth in the developing world. There we go. So now let's go to it. R3 launched this report like 3 days ago. China's 3 lessons about driving CBDC adoption. So setting the scene, it goes into it all. So a few years ago, the surging usage of digital payments platform like WeChat and Alipay saw most merchants stop accepting cash and replace their traditional tills with QR codes at every checkout corner. So that's what CBDCs have the potential of doing, addressing some types of financial exclusion. But for that to happen, uptake has to be broad and integration into existing systems need to be done carefully. Scaling uptick of CBDC has proven difficult for many issuing countries, but China's experience suggests that this can be turned around. Even though it's still in its pilot, the yuan has a considerable reach and transaction frequency. As we come down here, they say it has a dramatic contrast to other issuing countries where adoption rates are considerably lower. Bahamas Sand Dollar, the Iniera in Nigeria. So the reason China stands apart holds useful lessons for other countries seeking to drive uptake as a way to improve financial inclusion. In particular, 3 features of their rollout suggest useful lessons. Foster integration with the pre-existing payments ecosystem. So they're gonna basically, we're owning, like, say, the XRP, the XLM, because say WeChat, Alipay, Stripe, PayPal, Square, all these kind of separate kind of companies that are trying to compete, these fintech companies, for market share. At the end of the day, they're all utilizing a similar common infrastructure like Stellar Lumens or RippleNet. And at the end of the day, by owning the digital asset that is the bridge asset or the value transfer mechanism or the value exchange mechanism, at the end of the day, we're owning a piece of the architecture, the infrastructure that all these companies are utilizing to compete to get market share in a massive kind of market potential, like trillions and trillions of dollars. So this is the first time in history you can own a piece of a protocol, of a standard, and this new Web3 and how it's enabling the tokenization of assets across the board. I'm going to share a video, a deep dive after this newsletter, and it's going to blow your mind as far as what I am talking about. But that's what I'm seeing is becoming the case. And that's what they're kind of insinuating here. Foster integration with pre-existing payments ecosystem. Don't just shove CBDC in people's throats. Have it just kind of intertwined with like the PayPals, the Stripes, the Venmos, the Cash Apps, in that sort of sense away. So offer a variety of offline payments. So payment types. So talking about a range of offline payment methods around the core CBDC, talking about visual card displays, the consumption amount, physical wallets in all shapes and sizes, such as watches, key rings, wristbands, and even earbud cases. Okay, so offering various offline payments is also aimed at closing the digital divide, while digital transformation has enabled a large proportion of the population to access mobile money. There's still unmet demand from people who don't have smartphones or lack internet literacy. So there we go. So like a physical payment card can also be used for like offline payments. So create carefully targeted government incentives. Financial incentives offered by the government are maybe the most direct lever to boost CBDC adoption. It is important to design incentives carefully to encourage users to continue to use CBDC rather than just prompting a one-time transaction. they're pushing so hard, so hard. So in China, 321.2 million renminbi in total was distributed as red packets. So the rollout went through 17 rounds in 8 cities. So like they were doing like a little lottery, and that's how they're kind of incentivizing it. So financial incentives need to meet 2 conditions if they're to generate long-term acceptance of CBDC. First, the central bank must cooperate with a mix of both large enterprises and small and medium-sized enterprises to ensure merchant variety. Second, it needs to team up with high usage partners to increase the opportunities for using the CBDC. Drawing out the lessons for future CBDC implementations, the CBDC adoption measures used by China may help to inform the future course for CBDC pilot schemes across the world, and especially in countries such as Sweden, Kenya, that have similar payment landscapes to China and well-established digital payment systems. With all countries entering uncharted territory with their CBDCs, it's vital that they learn from each other's experiences to help them reap the full benefits on offer, including closing the digital divide. My grandma would certainly have welcomed the ease and accessibility of a CBDC, and I suspect yours would too. Okay, so there we go. So the push, you can feel it. Central Bank of Brazil president states digital real pilot is imminent. So Brazil, state of the pilot test will start now, and that banks will have to digitize more of their balances in the future, and that it should be ready for December 2023 when his mandate as president of the bank ends. But for some reason, I'm feeling like it's going to be sooner. So a new vision for finance, and we kind of read some of this stuff, but Brazil, mark it off. Because Brazil government to clarify Bitcoin law with new decree. It says 4 seconds ago. Okay, so the Brazilian government is set to issue a decree that modifies some of the rules established in the Bitcoin law approved in November 2022. Faces new crypto regulations, so is now working on new proposals to regulate the cryptocurrency sector and clarify existing crypto laws. If we go down, so they're changing the laws, they're changing the frameworks, they have their CBDC, the Real, imminent launch. So then we have Russia to launch digital ruble pilot in April. Bank of Russia to pilot CBDC in April. Digital ruble payments will be launched for retail purchases and peer-to-peer transactions, a central bank official said. So the digital ruble is ready for its pilot phase, said the bank's deputy governor. The project will be launched for peer-to-peer transfers between individuals and for retail purchases. The pilot will work on real operations for real people, but only for a limited number of them, with the 13 banks that have signaled they're ready. The central bank will pilot the CBDC with sets of selected clients. After the pilot, the Bank of Russia will decide on the ways to expand the project. So the pilot was initially expected to go live in 2021, but provoked some concerns in the Russian bank community that the rolling out infrastructure for the digital ruble will be burdensome for lenders and making the banking system more centralized and less diverse. Bank of Russia later promised to modify the concept so it doesn't hurt the traditional system. Boom, another one. Then we have this. Bill allows Russian financial platform to operate blockchains and issue digital assets. So a draft law filed in the Russian parliament permits operators, platforms providing financial services, to also run on blockchain platforms. The legislation will allow them to combine their regular activities in the traditional markets with issuing digital assets. So new law opens door to blockchain space for Russian financial service providers. As we go down here, the latter are regulated by the law on digital financial assets, tokenized cashless payments, its main purposes, and the digital ruble and digital financial assets. So that's what they're saying. So the new bill builds on the law on conducting financial transactions using financial platforms, and it's a way for information systems that provide financial organizations with an opportunity to meet consumers online. On these platforms, individual investors have access to financial instruments, banking and insurance services, as well as services offered by companies working in the securities market. The possibility to integrate financial and blockchain services will expand the type of activities that their operators can perform and the range of products and services they can provide. So they're looking ways to develop its digital assets market. Central Bank of Russia has already added several entities to register of authorized DFA issuers. These are the tokenization service, Atomize, the fintech company Lighthouse, as well as Sberbank and Alpha Bank, Russia's largest state-owned and private bank, respectively. Another one. Then we have this. Moody's says Forex shortages may force Nigerian central bank to delay repaying local banks. It's not looking good over there. So persisting local currency shortages. So that's what they're talking about with the nightmare going on. Bank of Japan to launch pilot program for issuing digital yen in April. So they're going to start their pilot program in April to test the use of a digital yen. And we're seeing that expected move follows 2 years of experiments the Bank of Japan has been conducting to decide whether to issue one. And our hope is that the pilot program will lead to improved designs through discussions with private businesses. And if a CBDC were to be issued in the future, exploring its framework in such a phased manner and engaging in highly transparent communication with the private sector are necessary steps to take for adoption in society. So the U.S. Federal Reserve has also been exploring how it can launch a fully digital dollar that some have referred to as FedCoin. Fed leaders have said that any launch of such an asset would need the support of elected leaders. And we're seeing Project Cedar start to wrap up here, which was the wholesale digital currency project with Project Ubin Plus. And that is wrapping up wholesale digital currency with big US banks. It's happening as we speak all across the world. Another one, UAE sets sights on CBDC launch to improve local cross-border payment under new scheme. So we're at the moment. You can feel it. The initiative is designed to accelerate the digital transformation in the financial services sector. So they're having access to digitized versions of their currency, which will be accepted as legal tender in the country for payments in goods and services, and confirm that the initiatives will be set for full integration by 2026 for a wholesale CBDC. So that's in the works for the UAE in its quest to improve remittances between financial institutions as it eyes cross-border functionalities. So the timeline for launch of the CBDC was not disclosed to the public, but confirmed that the initiatives will be set for full integration by 2026. There we go. So we're seeing all of this come together. So now let's go to the next one. So we have Afroeconomy is revolutionizing Africa with inter-border payments. So Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa have the highest number of users in the region. Many people use crypto assets for commercial payments, but their volatility makes them unsuitable as a store of value. So the underlying problem in inter-border payments and the solution by Afroeconomy. Okay, never mind. So this is not. So we're seeing all of these things come to light, all these different countries, and it's Brazil, Russia, China, Japan, UAE. We're seeing all of them gear up, and we even have India going live. We have so many countries that are in the works or already piloting or already gone live, and it's only going to speed up rapidly. This is Brian Brics discerning a regulatory approach for cryptocurrencies and digital assets, explaining what a stablecoin and CBDCs are. Let's hear it.
Prepaid card is much easier to carry than $100.
Hey, Brian, could you just explain what exactly stablecoin is versus crypto, and maybe
Sure.
Another 10, 15 seconds on what CBDC is? Just
for definition. Absolutely. I don't want to filibuster here, but I'll just do it very quickly. So stablecoin is supposed to be, is an internet payment instrument. So it's supposed to be kind of like a prepaid card or like a traveler's check, right? So those instruments of earlier eras, they weren't cash, but they represented a claim on cash that existed somewhere. They were just easier to use because you could carry them around in your pocket. A prepaid card is much easier to carry than $100 in fives. So the concept is you have an instrument that can be immediately sent from one person to another with no need for an intermediary to clear that or to settle that transaction. So like if I'm Venmoing you money, Venmo actually is just a set of instructions from my bank to your bank to transfer money. And as somebody pointed out, if you're on Zelle and I'm on Venmo, I can't send it to you, right? But it doesn't matter if you're on Gmail and I'm on Hotmail. I can still send you an email, right? Because the internet is interoperable. That's what a stablecoin is. It's an ability to send an instantly settled payment to you backed as a claim on dollars in the bank. Now, the issue with stablecoins is because we don't have a clear regulatory framework. I mean, when I was running the OCC, I did put out guidance on this, but there's no law yet. The issue is, what if it's not really backed by dollars in the bank? So then you have problems. And again, one of the things we'll talk about is how do you make stablecoins stable? And the last thing I'll just quickly say is on the stablecoin point, some people may have heard about the implosion of something called Terra a few weeks ago, right? This was called a stablecoin by crypto people, but it didn't meet any of the criteria I just described. There was no promise that there would be dollars available to redeem these stable coins. It was a token that was related to another token, and if you exchange this token for that token at a given exchange rate, you could either get or not get a certain amount of value. And thus it was highly susceptible to a bank run, which is what happened. So don't believe when someone calls something a stable coin that it necessarily is a stable coin. Your mental model should be if there are dollars in the bank. CBDC is just very quickly. The CBDC concept competes with the stablecoin concept. The idea is that we should have an internet dollar, a native non-bank settled dollar, except only the government, only the Federal Reserve should be able to create it and destroy it, versus having American Express and Barclays both issue traveler's checks and have different feature sets and things, which we used to understand and like. The idea here is, no, only the central bank will do that.
Okay, Sully, take it away on gap.
There we go. So lays it out pretty solid there. So now let's go to this. We have Coinbase CEO urges Congress to pass clear crypto legislation, warns America risks losing financial hub status. I don't think America's ready to give up that quick without a fight. I think this is all a charade, and last second we're going to see them kind of pull it together. I think that's going to be the case because we're seeing everywhere else in the world right now. So the U.S. has got the burn on them that they got to do something here soon. They got to step up. So Coinbase U.S. Congress needs to step up its crypto regulatory efforts. Said the exchange would love to register its two dormant broker dealers, but the reality is there's no clear direction that has been provided by lawmakers on Capitol Hill. So we're seeing that push. And then we see Ripple right here. So actually, before I go into that, let me go over the ISO, because what's happening as well too around the time that we're talking about March, April, we got March 23rd, 2023. We have proof crypto assets will be used March 2023. You have coordination with other ECB contact groups. This is for ISO. And you're seeing digital currency / crypto assets, current developments, cross-border payments, March 2023, building the settlement system of the future. This is crazy. We're seeing all this come this year. Settlement of the first regulated bond and span registered with blockchain, FX global code status and experiences. Like this is the year. This is the year, man. And it's spelled out for us in a timeline and it's right there for us to see. By April 2023, if current announced deadlines are met, ISO 222 will support 79% of the volume and 87% of the value of high value payments worldwide. Setting the stage here. Setting the stage. Huge. And then we have this. So why adopting ISO 222 is good for you and your clients is February 3rd, 2023 from Swift. I actually think I already went over this document. I did the other day in my video. So we're going to skip that because we have this as well. And this is what I'm going to do a deep dive video on. So subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to get updated when I drop that. But I'm just going to read the title of this, which is how MasterCard, Goldman Sachs, and other traditional finance titans are using blockchain to rewire global finance. This is the biggest thing to happen in so long, man. It's so deep. And the opportunity that's resulting from this is so huge. And this is a once in a generational opportunity and you gotta bite the bullet on it. So if you need kind of a community to have your back during all of it, join the Discord. Link will be in the bio. We got your back. We got the white glove on deck. And we are positioning ourselves as we speak for all these events coming up. So get into the Discord because on Monday, we're closing off the VIP white glove service until further notice. We want to make sure we're focused, that we're dialed in for our newest VIPs that signed up over this past week. It was crazy, as well as all of our OG current VIP members. We got to make sure we're taking care of everybody that's already been involved. They're just newly got involved. We can't oversaturate right now at the moment. So we're holding it open. The gate is open till Monday, but boom, it's closed and shut after Monday goes and until further notice, until we get ourselves cleaned up and situated here. So definitely bite the bullet because this is a once in a generational opportunity. I'm going to show you why with this video from Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple.
Ripple decided earlier on that we wanted to be at kind of the infrastructure layer, and there's a whole bunch of strategic issues associated with that. One of them, quite frankly, is that if you work with regulated endpoints, That's where all the regulatory frameworks apply. KYC, know your customer, AML, anti-money laundering, all the acronyms. If you work just with regulated endpoints, they're making sure that that is the case. Companies like WeChat have to do that regulatory work themselves. Now Swift, Swift is kind of a competitor. It's slightly more complicated than that because Swift is really just messaging. When you send a Swift transfer, it's not liquidity. You're actually sending bank messages to banks that have liquidity. So to some degree, Citibank and HSBC, really the top two, JPM, those are the top three liquidity banks. And when you're sending Swift messages, you're sending messages to banks to release liquidity and making sure the debits and credits match. So to some degree, really boil it down, Ripple's competing with the liquidity of Citi and the messaging of Swift, but in one, because we're both messaging and liquidity.
Global powerhouse, man. Global powerhouse. If you can't beat them, join them. And that's what I'm sure a lot of the Citi, Swift are doing. And we've seen the documents to back that up. And we have this huge global standard on the horizon right here, ready to light it up in this world. So now, lastly, I wanted to show this because we're talking about how this is transforming or rewiring global finance with blockchain, MasterCard, Goldman Sachs, and other traditional finance titans. Also at the COP27 summit, all the nations came to a historic agreement on a loss and damage funding and a call for transformation of the financial system. We are at the moment, my friends, and get ready because I want to see you on an island in Thailand. I'm not even joking when I say that. I'm going to be there. I hope you guys are there. Come join the Discord. We'll be there together. And I think that was it, guys. Oh, lastly, we'll finish off with this because Ripple's just so next level. They're doing machine learning capabilities into their payment solution to provide a superior experience to their customers. And I'm going to play this. And after that, I will see you guys in the Discord and in the next video.
That's a big question in a minute, but I'll try. Hi, I'm Devraj Vardhan, and this is Crypto in a Minute. To me, technology built and scaled right, it really improves people's lives on a daily basis. When you're really taking on challenges at that global scale, there are so many variables. This is where we apply machine learning because it is a very stochastic in nature, the problem itself, where all the way from predicting customer demand to delivering the right amount of liquidity at the right place is one of the places where we apply machine learning today. Because when you're really moving value using crypto throughout the world, you need to be able to predict exactly what the customer demand is, when they need it, where they need it, how much do they need it. All of this needs to be done in a most cost-effective manner, and this is where we use machine learning today in crypto. 3 seconds left.